Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. We have another Megaton Man Monday. Today we're looking at Don Simpson's Bizarre Heroes #2 featuring the Meddler. This cover is so cool, but it doesn't do the interior justice. This is one of the most well-drawn issues I've ever seen of a comic, let alone from Don Simpson. I love Don Simpson's art. I love tracking the evolution of it over the weeks. And the inking, I don't know what happened. It's just like gorgeous, next level. Just, I mean, he's an amazing inker, of course, but this issue just like blew my mind. So I cannot wait to share it with you. Fiasco Comics, Don Simpson, 1993, The Meddler, Bizarre Heroes, so good. All right, here we go. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button. Let's get into this. So once again, I feel like, Don dips in sometimes to answer some of my questions. One of the questions I had was the weird fit of this, how there's a lot of negative space at the top and the bottom of this page, which there is a clue to this. I'm not sure if he was going to do like a landscape format or not, but there's a lot of that in this book. But look at what I was talking about. I don't know if Don Simpson kidnapped Joe Sinnott and like tied him to a desk and made him ink this or what, but I'm getting so many Sinnott vibes. I mean, and you can see it. I feel like he is telling us with some of this like Kirby tech and reflection. I don't know. But I also know that Don is like a big John Romita Sr. fan, and I was getting some John Romita Sr. vibes in here. But I spoke of like the evolution of his art. Like I feel like they're, like especially the early issues of Megaton Man are very underground, borderline caricature, more cartoony, and it's evolving more into straightforward, sort of slick, like Joe Sina, Kirby, Ramita kind of classic comic book art. And I feel like he's kind of telling us the era he is in. This is the Sinnott era of Don Simpson inks, I believe. And these Kirby dots are like beautiful. I feel like I saw some Kirby dots in some prior issues of Megaton Man and called him out for not being Kirby enough. And whoa, I think you more than made up for that with this issue. And this, you talk about, like, it's so funny because every once in a while a panel will just come out that totally strikes you as, like, especially beautiful. And look at the freaking inking in this. Like, is this not giving you, like, Charles Burns vibes? I mean, that is so beautiful. Like, I've watched videos of Don inking with a crow quill, and he's just such a master. It looks like he's inking with a brush, but I definitely detecting a lot of brushwork here. The feathering on these lines and that point is like so next level. If you ever like need inspiration for inking, find Don Simpson's YouTube channel and like his ink process videos. Like it's life changing. Trust me. I love it. I agree. Look at this great character. So these are clones being oops, spoiler. They don't know they're clones, but they're this team of clones that are being put together to battle the clone plague in a way. So the Meddler's involved. There's all these crazy heroes. Um, it's funny because I feel like he's still kind of guilty of this. Like every time you turn a page, there's like 25 new characters involved. So there is a lot to keep track of. But once again, I feel like this is sort of, oh, I didn't notice the swastikas here before, but oh well. Always so jarring in a comic book, but it's so prevalent. Comic books started like around World War II, and that was like part of the big reason to fight the enemy and all that stuff. So, I mean, you're gonna get that. I don't know, but I'm getting like kind of Kirby New God vibes here too. So, Don's always very on the nose yet esoteric a lot in his satire, and sometimes it's super obvious and hits you over the head, but then there's always like so many nuances underneath. It's so bizarre too. Ha ha ha. See what I did there? But Don said like in the last, I don't know, the introduction to issue 1, he wanted to just introduce a lot of new characters and concepts to keep himself interested, arguably to keep this going for the rest of his life or the next 17 issues, whichever comes first, right? But I mean, just look at the level of detail for like seemingly no reason, like aside from the fact that he just enjoys the hell out of drawing. Like some of these panels are just so crazy with detail. And Phantom Jungle Girl, and here we go, with some brilliant Don Simpson lettering here. I mean, that's the other thing that's so great about reading these comic books is like, you don't get this much anymore. Like someone who's penciling, inking, writing, and lettering all the book. And I don't know, there's just a certain gravity that it brings, like a certain, I don't know, just the way everything fits together so perfectly. I love Phantom Jungle Girl. She was so cool. It's me. And I love the humor of Don Simpson too. And I'm getting ahead of myself, but what if I forget? There's a reference here to her wearing fur, and the meddler makes sure that it is known that she only wears faux fur. I just thought that was funny because, like, especially, I don't know, it's just like the little Don Simpsonisms that crack me up. I mean, look at the beauty of this panel here. Like, are you getting Joe Sinnott vibes? Like, the beautiful ink here is just, the lush lines are just gorgeous. I love this guy too. Oh my gosh, if this brain, and obviously this has to be a play on Missouri Mala and the brain or whatever. So he wants to project himself into Bobo the clown, Bobo of the Congo. But Jungle Girl's like, Phantom Jungle Girl's like, no, because you become an uncontrollable, rowdy, carousing gunslinger from the Wild West. Not only that, but you're frisky as all get out from being cooped up in that jar for so long. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. I'm dying. I love that. Look at this great shot. I mean, there's just so many classic looking panels in here that just, and then, but also, like, I feel like one of Don's other talents slash appeal of his work is his ability to combine the fantastic with the mundane and just, it's like you just have Clarissa on her bed on the phone here. She's a college student, dressed appropriately so. She's got all her books. She's got the little Michigan pendant behind her bed. I mean, it's just so fun. Checking in with Stella Starlight. Like I said, there's a lot going on. Hopefully you've been following me week after week because it's totally worth it. One of the most engrossing, in-depth, investigative series on YouTube. You are so lucky to be privy to. You should spread the word. Everyone should know about this. I don't, like, I don't know. Oh, this is the panel that made me think of that. Like, uh, the stationary exercise bike, because like, my mom had one of those, and I just, like, I mean, I remember riding it, and they were such a thing. I don't think people really do that anymore, do they? I don't know. But, I mean, trust me, it was the thing. Then, Dr. Messiah, I love it. Just so funny. I mean, why have Doctor Strange when you can have Doctor Messiah? And here is something. This is so interesting how you talk about that thing that people are freaked out about when you're talking about I don't know, an avocado, and then you pick up your phone 5 minutes later and it's like nothing but avocado ads or recipes or something. So I just saw a post on Facebook. This is like, bear with me here. Steve Lee Aloha, one of my favorite artists, posted a Ghostwriter cover that he inked, and Eric Larson had commented that he didn't wouldn't have recognized it as his inking and asked if that was Romita razor, which I figured out means. I'm guessing John Romita must have taken a razor and cut across the ink to get sort of effects like that. So I instantly recognized that as possible Romita razor and wondered, like, is that a thing? Like, as much as I know about artists and how I followed them and, like, Kirby Dots and, like, Mike Mignola's Smoke and stuff like that, I had never heard of Romita razor. So I've had an education this week, thanks to you, Eric Larson. And then, ladies and gentlemen, the Slick. This is like the Spider-Man analog parody, which, oh, see more of the Ramita razor. I mean, what a great effect, right? this panel is what, like, classic. It looks straight from like like the Spider-Man comic strip that ran in the newspaper. Like, so good. I love it. It totally giving me that vibe. More Ramita Razor, perhaps. But the other thing I love in a comic book is a good phallic connotation, and this is a dick if I ever saw one. I mean, that is a dick and balls, and there is no hiding behind that. Splorf, it's like shooting. I mean, you know. Oh, and what did he say? Let's see. He is. Oh my god, I forget his like secret identity. Oh, the alter ego, David Tolkien, freelance movie critic. Oh my gosh, whatever. That needs to be the title of a movie, right? Freelance movie critic. Like, who the hell cares? That is the humor of Don Simpson right there. And this is where it really goes off the rails. This is where I usually say it's the inevitable point in an Image comic that I have to turn the book sideways. But we're going to say it's the inevitable point in a Fiasco Press comics that you turn the book sideways and I don't know, suddenly it's Lou Grant or something. Like, this has gotten very, like, Mary Worth, like, I don't know, but this panel is ridiculous. Like, look at this. Like, well, what are you thinking, Don Simpson? So this is, like, the outside of the building, but he does this cutout, and you got all this crazy perspective and detail. Like, this is, like, the family circus, like, when Billy is, like, goes to the get an apple for his mom and like they show the whole neighborhood like in dots like his journey and he's walked like 5 feet but there's all this detail that makes it look like so incredible intense. That's what's happening here. Like this is like like epic blockbuster Mark Millar, Frank Quitely, what do you call it, authority, planetary, but the outside of the Detroit Day. I mean, so good, right? Look at the beautiful, like, hatching and line work. Like, I'm just, like, so blown away. And then to have, like, all the detail in this panel. I don't know what kind of medication you were on at the time when you did this, but I need a bottle. It is beautiful. But then it was kind of intense to read, too. Like, super dense. Like, super dense. I felt like I almost thought I was going to be late with this one because I felt like I just picked up War and Peace or something. I don't know. It's so good. I love the Meddler. Like, these characters are great. I'm glad we still have 15 issues left. We're off to a great start. And this is like a crazy panel, too. Like, I just, I don't know. I think of artists, like, I mean, look at all the beautiful hatching. Like, what were you looking at the time for inspiration and just like, I don't know. But I also feel this is, post splitting Image. He's done a few ink jobs, Wasteland. So, he is just hitting his stride artistically. And the inking is just like phenomenal. Phenomenal. Uh, Don Simpson is an all over package deal. So I don't want to say one of his talents is bigger than the others, but damn, his inking is so tight, so gorgeous. And the little backup feature, and for all you lovers of realistic anatomy, check out the glutes on that clone, huh? Look at the beautiful silhouettes in this panel. I love it. So good. And then the backup feature, the Savage X-Ray Boy. And once again, like, what are you doing, Don Simpson? He's on the steps in the museum, and you got two Sphinx for the price of one. The X-Ray cutaway view. See, mixed genres. I just love that too. Like, that seems so silly and like, comic booky and so great. Cannot wait for more. And see, and then you get like a classic Don Simpson, kooky caricature looking person. There are a lot of like mixed genres, a lot of things. Like, I feel like Don's sort of like, trying different things, experimenting, sort of paying homage and tribute to the things he loves. And it's just a hell of a ride. It's a great book. Once again, another Megaton Man Monday in the can. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Be back next week for, I believe, Don Simpson's Bizarre Heroes #3. Although it might be Tarot Man. I have some mail on the way. Anyway, either way, glad you're here. Spread the word. Megaton Man Mondays. Don Simpson's Bizarre Heroes #2 featuring the Meddler. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button, and I will bring you more later.